Yeah, he talks about effort, um, or what was it again? Intentional suffering, conscious labor, which implies effort. And I know, Jez, you've said, and many have said that the natural you can't get into the natural state through effort. So this isn't an effort to get into the natural state, but it does take effort to observe yourself. And by observing yourself, this is what I assume getting is that by observing, it does take effort to observe yourself, will and effort in the moment, right now. And by doing, and if you do that, I guess he talked about, then it's a gift. It's possible that the natural state you'll have an opening. That's kind of what I got. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Does that sound accurate?
I'm not exactly sure what he meant by that part of it, conscious labor, but I can respond directly to what you just said. Um, Effort, right, in watching. Well, when you say that, my immediate reaction is there isn't effort in that watching, in that observing. For me, the suffering bit
Yes.
comes in when there's identification with that, road rage, for example, using that example.
Right.
So, from where I come from, as soon as there's the awareness saying, my God, that was a bit of an overreaction, give it a break, or chill out a bit. For me, that's the unhooking, and that's the freedom, really. That's the freedom from the identification with it. And so, as long as you're still identified with it, you're still suffering in the dream of that personality and its need to kind of get revenge on that guy or express anger that actually wasn't anything to do with that guy. It's a weird one because there's effort, and I was talking about non doing. I guess I'm saying that the process that he's describing, if we call it a process, is actually in its natural state. If it's not a practice, that it is non-doing. It's just something that happens.
He also talks about the herd mentality, and so the default machinery is to follow the herd. You'll actually go over a cliff to your death following the herd. Um, and so what I got is the effort is to think for yourself and not just follow your default machinery. So yeah, so I mean whether that's effort or it just seems like it just
Yeah.
means yeah, like
I guess this is my point that when this, let's call it an impulse, is followed, it's not really an effort, I would say. I'm not saying it's all easy, but it's not willpower. It's not like, God, I must remember to do that. I must remember to sort of see it from this way. It's more like something that's just happening. We're using this talk as a kind of springboard, really, to go into these subjects. Whether like I said, I haven't gone into Gurdjieff's teaching that far. I know a lot of them, like I say, synchronize with what I'm saying. But we're kind of leaving that behind now to kind of go into the raw experience of it that I've had, that you've had. It's so often words that have connotations, and we talked about that's the work you've got to do. I've talked about that too. But the point I'm making is that work is uh, not work in the sense of I got to go and do manual labor now all day and I really don't want to do it. It's not work like that. It's more using the word work to say there's shit that has to be seen and broken down and seen through, and that's what's going to happen. And yeah, it's not like I really don't want to do it because actually this one does want to do it because it's the petals of a flower opening. It's towards freedom. Yeah.
but it's uncomfortable and
It can definitely
yeah.
be uncomfortable. Now, this is where, like I said, the personalities, part of its function is to protect you from the uncomfortableness and those painful feelings and the painful things you don't want to see. So there is no question about it can be very uncomfortable. So that bit I'm in total agreement with. But the vital bit is that there is this willingness that can arise to face it. Yeah, why is that? Well, I just think that we have this yearning for freedom. And if that's big enough, it outshines the volition and the needs of the personality. So this becomes a kind of non-doing. So when I say non-doing, I don't mean that it can't be hard or difficult, but the engagement with it is coming from your side, is coming from a place of surrender and full engagement, like full feeling engagement with life. That's what I was saying. Yeah. And I do feel it seems to be a natural thing. If you happen to be made in the way that we obviously are, that there is an openness and a hunger and a yearning for this, it is like a kind of, you can get off it. The personality can derail it and can stop it, and you can stop short, as I've said before. But if your hunger for it is yearning for it is big enough, then it just doesn't stop. It just can't stop opening, really, because it's almost like there's nothing there to put the brakes on, because the bit that puts the brakes on is the personality. Once again, that doesn't mean you won't hit bits where you'll feel lost, or I don't get what's going on, or I don't understand it, or this is just painful. So it's not that that can't still happen, but the motor never, and the will to go in this direction never kind of falters, really. I think that's what it takes to find this. And I do think there are many places along the way you can stop off and stop short, because if the personality is still functioning to a certain degree, it will always say, well, that's enough. I mean, I'm comfortable here. Maybe I'm comfortable in this role of servitude to this guru or to somebody's philosophies, or because they make me feel safe, or there's many ways you can stop and find justifications for that stopping. It's just what it is. But this is a kind of never-ending, apart from death, a walk towards in the direction that I've been explaining, really. It's like the petals never really stop opening, or you never, at least you could say you never stop going in that direction. The inclination is always towards this. So yeah, how did this start? Because I was saying, for me, this is, I'm just going deeper into the idea of work. Yes, work in a sense, in that, you know, personality is so deep in our lives. It's got such a hold, and it started so young, that there can be little blind spots and things that we haven't yet seen. So in terms of that, who knows what you're going to see that you haven't yet seen. But non-doing in the sense that there will always be the movement to whatever comes up. And also, above all that, is that you're okay wherever you are. I mean, this is what I was saying in the book. You don't have to have seen everything to be present now and to be in it now. It's just that on a practical level, in the end, that kind of releases you more, because there's less energy being constrained by that. So say you have a pattern around, well, whatever it is, you've got a pattern. It's almost like that much energy is constrained and held up in that. So at the right time, there'll be the right conditions and an event that will bring that out, where you would probably need to face that, because there does seem to be this ongoing move towards everything being exposed. But to counteract that idea that, oh, well, I'm only really free when I got that. Well, I think you get to a point where that isn't the case. Yes, some energy may be tied up in it, but you're still kind of free in the moment if you're not identified. So for me, as long as once that identification goes, that's the real turning point. So this is why I say, and I know others have said, that, awakening never ends, in the sense that what is seen and the learning that comes from it never ends. And often, in my experience, there's things that have arisen in my life since the shift that I know the only way I could have got to even seeing it was because the shift happened. Because it allows you enough stillness or equanimity, or, would probably set me crazy otherwise, to be able to just have that choiceless awareness on it and to go through it. Life does bring these things. Everything's a mirror back to personality and can give you the opportunity to see it. So there's no, in a way, you don't have to go to courses. Once you've done this, once you get the gist of this, you just get on with living it. And life provides ample, experiences, well, never ending, to see, mirrors to use, to see it, yeah.